Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host with a garbled tongue, DJ Alessandrini. I'm joined by my co-host with a better tongue, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
Oh no,
I'm okay. How are you?
That was such like a good underwater impression. I don't know if that's what you're aiming for.
Talking without your tongue, it's a little tricky.
Yeah, I tried right in the intro. It didn't go so well, so that's where we're at. Tom, how's it going besides webcam problems that delayed the start of the show?
Sorry about that. I'm okay. I gotta be honest. We don't need to go into it or anything, but I'm feeling a little like beat down by the world this past week for some reason. It just feels like there's a lot happening, and I'm like, I want to slow down and get off for a little bit, please.
Yeah.
But also, I've been home by myself mostly because my parents left for a trip. They're retired, so smart. Like they're literally killing retirement. They went to the Galapagos Islands for a month.
I'm not even sure where those are. Is that where the big lizard? What's the big lizard? Komodo dragons?
Yep.
That is where those are?
It's such remote islands. It's right on the equator, and it's completely removed from the world so much so that it has like completely different evolved animals. So you can see animals there that you won't see anywhere else in the world, and they're taking a trip with a guided thing and two of their other friends, and they were sending pictures of all sorts of animals, and they saw a hammerhead shark like 5 feet away, 6 feet away from them, snorkeling.
I'm just pumped that your parents are seeing the king of all lizards, the Komodo dragon.
Lizards. Oh shoot, I didn't even pick up that connection.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to ask if they met one yet.
Hopefully not. I think they're actually pretty savage. I don't think. I think
they can poison you. Yeah, you're right.
Well, if they bite you, their mouth has so much bacteria or whatever, you literally just like lose whatever limb they bit into or whatever. Guys, you don't come here for biology information, FYI. So everything we're saying about actual lizards, like if you've never tuned into the podcast before, we actually don't talk about lizards, except the last like 2 minutes of the podcast. Yeah.
But otherwise, I've been good. How about you?
Really good.
Across this past weekend.
Yeah, I did. So Peter let me steal the car. So I drove 2 hours to Peter's house and then 5 hours up to Finger Lakes on Friday. Didn't quite make it all the way there on Friday, so I got a hotel and showed up for the test and tune. Didn't get as many runs as I thought it was going to, Tom. You have a test and tune. There's only 30 people signed up. How many runs do you think you're getting?
I lose count. You should not have to ever not get enough runs in that situation.
I got 14 runs.
Did you feel limited? Like it stopped before you were done running?
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah. It was.
Where were you at? You were Finger Lakes?
Finger Lakes. Yeah. The test and tune was not doing as many. They had the newbies run it, but the format was really weird. What do you think is the ideal format for a test and tune, Tom?
Work 1 hour, run the rest of the time.
That's what
cycling
I said.
Grid from just like park everybody in a giant horseshoe, or like what they do at Solo Nationals, where there's a couple rows and there's one person just walking down. If you're ready, you're ready. If you're not, they skip you and you come back the next time around.
That's what I said. I said we should just be having people working for 1 hour and then it's just like a big grid for the rest of the time. And if you're not at your car when the grid person comes by, you don't run. You have to wait till next time. Yep. You have to be at your car with the helmet on.
Right.
Yeah.
What did they actually do?
It was
just not that.
It was two heats, and we swapped in between. We did 2 heats, and then like we did that 2 times. So you worked twice and you ran twice, and it was 7 runs each time.
Oh, that's really poorly designed.
The problem is that
whoever, I'm sure they might listen to this. I'm sorry
they might. But look, there's room for improvement. There's room for improvement.
Yeah.
All you needed was like 2 or 3 people on scooters or like the ability to run to like grab cones off the course, and then somebody at starter and somebody in grid. And like you could do 6 hours of test and tune with only having to work 1 hour, and then you get 5 hours of runs. I was kind of half expecting to explain to Peter that, yeah, I know I roasted these tires down to the ground, but it was well worth it because now I understand all these things about this car we're competing in this year. And I barely touched the tires.
And now you're like, well, they're fresh, ready to go.
They're ready to go, Peter. But I did find like where the bell curves were for the rebound adjustments. That's like I started doing that, and I was going to move on to the other adjustments. I was just adjusting one at a time. I was making big sweeps. I would think that the car drives pretty well with like its current adjustment, and I would make an adjustment expecting it to be worse. And one of the times I was actually surprised and was like, wow, the behavior actually did opposite what I expected. Uh, and it actually got better opposite of the way I expected it to get worse, which I found
Oh,
really interesting. So it was a good experimentation. I just wish I got to do that with all the potential adjustments of the car. So then when we get to an event, and the reason why I was trying to make it worse is if I was experiencing that behavior after I purposely made it worse, when we show up to an event, I know what adjustment to like fix that particular issue, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to dig into, and I guess I have a firm understanding of what the rebound does on the car at this point. But I wanted to do the rebound, the compression, both sway bars, and then I even wanted to like mess around with some ride height on the rear. But yeah, we just didn't get enough runs.
You're a good teammate. I have literally never mm, I've asked for a change on an autocross car less than 5 times.
Yeah,
Ever.
I
The
will.
only one I can think of right now is Jason Tipple's car that Craig Wilcox has now, that Civic, the
Yeah,
SMF car. And he ended up driving all the way back to Ohio to get softer rear springs because the drivability was so bad.
remember. I
Yeah.
remember you had. I remember that event. It was at Peru, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, and I think you DNF'd your first run because the car just like went right when you tried to go left in like a slalom or something.
Yeah, it was just way too stiff. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But the speed was there. Anyway, we were talking I can't I'm trying to think if maybe the 914 if I ever asked for changes. I don't know. I think you're a better teammate or autocross than I am.
Well, let's not get uh let's not lie to everyone, but uh I will
I didn't say
say
you're a better autocrosser. I'm
no, I
kidding.
know you didn't say that.
Kidding, kidding, kidding.
uh with the new diff, me and Peter got a ATS carbon diff from ASM Motorsports. Oh my god, Tom. The car is so good. I thought maybe we were gonna have to make a bunch of different changes or whatever. Really, the changes that like with the rear sway bar and full stiff, the car is like money. It's so good. It's so placeable and easy, and like it's begging you to like push it more. Like when it bites, it's not like all of a sudden it's like yeah I asked for that. It's super good right now. So
Cool. That's
I'm
exciting.
yeah, I'm super pumped for the first national event that me and Peter have, which is the DC Pro Solo, which is like the weekend after Ola. So this was really the only chance to like learn about the car before we went out there. So yeah,
Gotcha.
pretty pumped about that. And then so that was Saturday. What weather was beautiful, Tom. It was probably one of the better days I'll experience for the entire year.
Yeah.
Sunday, we were getting hailed on. There was snow. It was raining. Like, but you know what the craziest thing was? The whole time, spirits were high. People were laughing and joking. Nobody was like, "This sucks. Why are we autocrossing? Like, I don't want to be here." Everyone was like, "Oh, Northern New York weather, ha ha ha." And then they would jump in their car and like go spin in the snow. Like it was great.
Yeah. That sounds really fun, actually.
It was great. It was
Um,
super fun.
oh, I was gonna ask a question. Hail, rain, something. Oh, how are the Bridgestones in the rain?
We didn't run the Bridgestones.
You didn't even try?
It was 30 something degrees.
Ah,
It was
man, that would have been kind of interesting.
yeah, it would have been kind of interesting. Other people were running Bridgestones, and I did take a run in a Golf R that's like for D Street, and it was on some Bridgestones. But they were actually able to, this was like later in the day when I took the run. And on the concrete, there was a dry line, but everywhere else it was still wet. But they were actually able to get some heat in the front tires, but not so much the rear. And it actually had surprising grip, like actually pretty surprising. And it was wet and like 40 degrees. And I was
Yeah.
actually kind of surprised that they felt activated. You know what I mean by, because sometimes like
Yes.
if you can have a tire activated and it's wet, like the compound gets warm enough to get sticky, then they're actually really good. If they can like shed the water fast enough. Uh, so even 40 degrees and wet, this car in particular was able to get the tires into a temperature window where they were actually doing something.
Sure. Yeah, the Tire Rack test, I was talking to Andy Hollis a little bit about them recently, I think, and he said the Tire Rack test um, found that it was faster in the wet skid pad, but more prone to hydroplaning.
Okay.
So if you could anticipate and drive through the hydroplaning in a safe way, then it was faster
Faster than.
than the RS,
Oh,
the
gotcha.
previous one.
Okay. Yeah. So the grip was so good that me and Peter were like, man, maybe in the afternoon session, because we were on Conti ECSs, we were
Yeah.
thinking, man, maybe in the afternoon session, and we were thinking this independently. And if anybody's in the Discord, they probably saw my video with us all getting hailed on. Uh,
Yes.
that was before we got hailed on for like 15 minutes. Like literally, there was just ice everywhere, and it got really cold again. And so it was like, okay, Conti ECSs. But man, Tom, Conti ECSs, that's such a great tire. It
It
was
is.
it was like high 30s and a decent amount of water, and the car just felt effortless to drive. And we didn't make any shock adjustments, sway bar adjustments, nothing, and it was still like easy.
Yeah. That's fun. I'm a little disappointed I neglected to go. I actually stayed home and hung out with my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, I guess. Yeah. And my niece for like a day. And then I also kind of OD'd on watching racing. There was a ton of racing on this
Yeah.
weekend. And I finally hit a point like after towards the end of Saturday after actually. I was like, I'm kind of tired of watching like trying to there was what WEC at Imola, there was IMSA at Long Beach, IndyCar at Long Beach, there was Grid Life at CMP, there was
Wasn't there V8
Goodwood,
supercars?
there were V8 supercar highlights that popped up. I don't watch those full race. Anyway,
Okay.
I was like, "Oh, there's so much you could watch racing." And then by the, couple hours later, I'm like, "I'm tired of watching racing.
You know what
I'm gonna do
watch
something else."
you know what watching racing makes me want to do more than anything is just sim race.
Just sim race, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Did it
get that.
did it like get the itch and then you got some sim racing in?
Mm, no, I didn't really sim race this weekend either. I'm trying to remember what I did. I've also I have a harder time watching racing now with my brain turning constantly about commentary because I'm still trying to
Oh.
use that as practice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, especially if someone else is distracting as a commentator, I really struggle with that, but in general, I'm, like, not paying attention to the driving as much as I used to, I don't think.
Is you
Well,
concentrating
maybe in
on
a different way.
is you concentrating on commentary ruining like watching racing as a spectator?
Um, no, because 'cause I've never been a great spectator. Like, I don't watch because I wanna watch and it's fun. I
Y-
I watch meaning I don't put it on in the background and watch I wanna watch, like, actively and good racing.
Yeah.
Honestly, the best racing I saw all weekend was Goodwood.
Yeah? And like
Yeah.
I'm not 100% familiar with Goodwood, so do you want to
Oh,
explain it?
it's the yeah, yeah, Goodwood, this weekend was I don't know what the different ones are, but it's called the Revival, and it's I think you kinda have to be, like, a member of Goodwood to do it. I'm talking out of my ass now. But anyway, it's all vintage cars, and they mostly hire pro drivers to come in and drive them, and it's all from, like, basically pre-war cars all the way through to, like, maybe the '70s is their, like, sweet spot, but then they all have started doing, like, features. So, this year featured was super touring cars, which is basically like Eric's Civic.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, that whole era from the '90s, they had a ton of those
And
cars
they bring
there.
in a bunch of guest drivers. That's like extra cool.
Or yeah, or the people who raced them at the time. I would rattle off some names, but I don't think you actually
No,
know
I would
any
not
of
know.
them. I don't think so. But they've also started doing, like they did, like, a GT3 special one, I think, last year. Um, but it's so fun to watch. Like, they race these cars. It's like damage is on the table, touching each other's on the table,
Oh, it
going off the
is.
track is on the table. It's like not vintage racing in the sense you're picturing. It's like hardcore. I mean, they have like Formula One world champions and people like this coming in and driving the cars. Like
Yeah.
they're racing.
I mean, you wouldn't turn that down. Hey, do you want to come race like this 1970s whatever? Yeah, I would be all over that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
I did get to drive a 39-year-old RX-7 at the autocross on Bridgestones in the wet. Uh,
What year is that? 39 years old?
it was 89
1983?
or 80,
80
87, 87. Sorry, I did the math
87.
wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
Was
I
it fun?
had a bunch of modifications to it. The seating position was super weird. The floor of it is so high. Like the floor of it is like almost higher than like the bottom of the seat. So like your feet are just like straight out in front of you. Like they don't go down at all. It's like they're like level with your butt. And then the steering wheel, it doesn't telescope at all, but it's like in the dash, but you're like close enough to it. And so that you're just like in the dash, like as the
Uh-huh.
driver. But like your knees aren't in the dash because they're like straight out because the pedals are like flat against the like the plane of where
So
your butt sits. Am I?
so you're
Am I?
sitting like a Lego guy.
Yeah, I was a
Your
Lego
legs are
guy.
just straight out and your arms are really short and they're just right there at the dash.
Yep, and they're right there at the dash, and no power steering, no ABS, and it had 350 horsepower on bald Bridgestones
Oh,
in the wet. And so I was my work assignment was instructor, which turned into taking runs in other people's cars, which is that's not normally how that job assignment goes. Um,
no.
and
But that is the most ideal version of that
yes,
job.
that is the most ideal version of that job. And I, I feel I feel a little like I feel slightly silly because I didn't want to walk the course the day prior because I didn't want to have an advantage over Peter. And meanwhile, Peter's out on course getting pelted by hail, and I'm taking runs in other people's cars before we even do our own runs. And I was worried about walking the course the day beforehand because it would give me an advantage. And
And now you're taking 20 runs in other people's cars.
no, it was like two. It was two. But yeah, it was it I just find that a little funny. It's like, no, I don't want the advantage when it requires me walking around. Uh,
Yeah.
yo, you're gonna throw me the keys? Screw it. Advantage manage. Like, who cares? Like, let's do this.
Yeah. I have something else autocross related I want to get to, but first, I forget sometimes that you have not driven older cars very
I
often.
haven't. No, that's it's like a blind spot in my. Which it might come in handy for One Lap of America. I have a slight One Lap of America update, but we can get to that later.
Okay. Yeah, I guess because you did NDMX5 S2000. Is the S2000 the oldest car you spent significant time in?
Yeah. Yep.
Damn. You got to
2000,
drive some 80s and 90s stuff.
2004 S2000, which
I want to hear you tell stories of driving stuff from the 80s and 90s.
all right. Well, I have driven I mean I didn't spend significant time, but I have driven like EFs and
Sure.
stuff like that before. But like that's after I uh it's still a blind spot in me. Like I making speed in a Miata on track is something that I still like. I know I'm leaving anytime I jump in like a NA or NB Miata. I just know I'm leaving time on the table because the brakes are just like such an enigma for me. Like I just they feel so vague. I feel like I have no idea what's happening. Uh, and normally I have like a good sense for what's happening with the tires on the road when I jump into a car. But for some reason, these older cars, like it just feels I haven't locked into like the correct feeling that I should be hunting for on the brakes on these older cars.
Hmm. Even though you've driven non-ABS cars, so it's not like a lack
Correct.
of ABS.
Yeah.
It's yeah, this I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like you can. I could say I know what a '90s car feels like versus I know what an '80s car feels like. They almost have different flavors, like as technology advanced in a
Yeah.
way. So like I'm trying to think of a good example, but everything from the '70s I've driven is obviously like the most huge throws on every shifter. The
The
like
steering wheel has a
Uh,
big dead
power
zone
s
in the middle of
big
it.
big steering wheel, yep,
Yeah.
and no power steering,
Yep.
and then you get into the '80s and the steering wheels are a little smaller and you have some power steering sometimes, but almost never ABS, and the ergonomics are a little better, the shifter's still a little long, then you get to the '90s and the steering wheels are still, like, kinda low throw, but they're still a little smaller, right, and then you have ABS most of the time, and that's interesting.
Yeah. So the
I'm
RX-7
gonna
that
keep
I
my eye out for
drove,
times that yeah, go ahead, sorry.
the RX-7 that I drove at this autocross event was it didn't have any power steering. Well, it used to have power steering, but this one did not have power steering. But it wasn't like the steering rack was like gutted or whatever, where it's like, you know, like how you can take steering racks and like make it where the effort is a
Yeah,
little easier, but it's like depowered essentially. No, this thing was like full on like get the big boy muscles out and like just like you're He-Man in this thing. In
yeah.
this like flimsy seat and you're sitting like a Lego man and yeah, it was I only got one run in it, but I was like, I could I could use an event to like get tuned into this car. You would never place well in packs. It would never be competitive, whatever class it ended up in. But I think I would learn something about myself as a driver, just trying to figure out how to extract speed out of it.
Oh, for sure. By what method was it making 350 horsepower?
A very laggy turbo that would instantly
Okay.
send the car sideways.
Nice. Was it well built or was it like a clapped out?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. It was on bald tires and it was cold and wet. So like,
Okay, got it.
yeah, like I did my best in the run. I don't even know how I compared to the owner. Uh, I didn't hit anything, and the car didn't come back muddy. And the owner was not mad at me by the end of the run. So I think it was a success. I don't know if it was a good time or not.
Got it. So it's easier to drive than a BRZ, is what you're
No,
saying.
definitely not.
'Cause I don't know, you got my BRZ dirty.
Oh, yeah. Your BRZ was
Sorry to get that
broken.
in there. Yeah, it's hard to drive.
Yeah.
Okay, so autocross, if I can nerd out for a second. I
Yeah.
was having a conversation in a group chat today that I think might be kind of interesting. There's been a consistent sort of like quiet push to move the format of solo nationals from competing either Tuesday, Wednesday to or Thursday, Friday to competing Tuesday, Thursday or Wednesday, Friday. So you have a day in between your competition runs at nationals because the people who want that idea or like that idea are saying that Tuesday, Wednesday is too frantic and too busy, and Thursday, Friday is like too chill, too many people leave. So if you spread it out amongst the days, then
Hmm.
it will slow the pace down for everyone. It'll make the event more enjoyable. Obviously, the downside to that is you're adding a whole extra day for everybody. You're adding a day of sitting around for everybody, and you're asking everybody to get there earlier, essentially.
Yeah. So
So,
I'm min maxing my PTO for the year. So I guess I would have to just work from a hotel room
right,
for at least one day, right? Well, 2 days because it's gonna take me more than one night to drive back home.
right.
But yeah,
But
I
trying to think from a competition perspective, what would it be like to sit around for an entire day after you've had day one done? And instead of getting
oh
to like focus up for the night and you get to come back the next day for whatever the deliverable is, then you sit for a day
oh that
and
would be
then you have
tough.
to do it again on day
Oh,
two.
that'd be tough. I mean, you would do test and tune, obviously, in between, right? Just to
Would you?
like, yeah,
Should they allow that?
just to stay fresh, right? Like
Okay.
you don't get a single day of rust for solo
Yeah.
nationals.
Well, you
Uh,
already shouldn't now. You get to drive that back to back.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you all of a sudden had a day in between where you just get like sit around and like not drive for that day, are you kidding me? My competitor that's a couple thousandths ahead of me after day one is over there doing test and tune runs. Feel like
Yeah,
I got to
fair.
get over there and do some test and tune
Kelsey's
runs.
said a good point too. That's in normal tournaments for other sports, you practice when you're not competing.
I
What
I
about this?
hold on.
Go
I
ahead.
I see the pros of it because that would make it more of a like a community festival of such, right? Because people would be around. I know a lot of people they'll like jump and change classes just so they're Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
just to try to save vacation time. So I do kind of get like like Thursday, Friday. There's definitely way less people on site than the other
Yeah.
days. You would have more of an opportunity to spectate. So there would be more spectators to enjoy the competition. I could see it being a stronger community event with the doing the Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that being a thing. I do think you would take a hit on entries a little bit, but it like sells out every year anyways. So I don't know if that's that much of an issue.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what number of people, like work situation wise, are managing PTO versus self-employed versus, it's not a question at their company or whatever. I assume I'm always in the minority because I don't have a normal job. I don't have my own car. Like everything about my trip to Solo Nationals is a bit different from most people. So I don't know that I have the best read on it. Um, but I mean, to what Devin's point in the chat just said, like the least popular thing I think Grid Life has done in the last 5 years is add a day to the competition
That is
weekend.
true. Yeah.
People hate that. Like every weekend, actually, multiple people this weekend in group chats were like, "God, this schedule sucks." but it's let it get bigger. So what's, is it the same thing even? Because you already stay there all week anyway for the most part. A lot of people do.
A lot of people do. You know what? I mean, if they changed it, it's not like I wouldn't go to solo nationals. I would, but
Yeah,
what I would like is a year heads up so I can plan my vacation days accordingly.
totally. All right, how about this idea?
Okay.
Uh 3 courses and you get to compete in 2 classes, but only your first one counts.
I mean, I
And you
would
can keep everyone there for an extra day. Then there's more stuff to do. Then everybody gets to do more than one thing. Keeps
three.
you there longer. Feels like a more of a big deal.
I like 3 courses.
So you only do 2 in a class.
You only do 3 courses in a class?
No, 2. But you could spread all the classes amongst the 3 different courses to get more efficiency.
Wait, so
All 3 are running at the same time.
some people might not run like
Some people might not run a course.
no,
Is that Live for Speed
I don't
behind
like
you
that. I don't see what you're looking at.
on your screen?
The computer
The
monitor?
monitor behind you?
No,
Yeah.
that's just Discord.
Oh, okay. Anyway, all right. So you don't like that you might not drive one course, but you could enter 2 classes, so you get a better chance of driving one of the
What
courses.
I like, look, all these autocross brains are the same. And somebody will be like, "Oh yeah, the course in 2018, you know that quick left right before the finish," and everyone that was there goes, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about." Like
Yeah.
everyone just knows the court, like everyone just remembers the courses because everyone drove them. It's like the shared experience.
Okay, so that would be an important aspect of it.
I think the
Anyway,
shared
I
experience
just wanted
of.
more do more than one class.
I also think more than one class would be kind of cool. Uh, it, I don't know how, like, so you would run Tuesday. Man, they would have no issue with Thursday, Friday if you could just run again, but just in a different class. But
Uh-huh.
you don't count for the results.
Yep.
But then everyone would be trying to run Tuesday, Wednesday, and then everyone
Oh,
would try. You know what I mean?
man, you autocrossers, you're so hard to keep happy.
well,
I'm
well,
kidding.
dude, I'm thinking, look, the coolest thing about one lap is that you get so many days of competition in a row, right? If Solo Nationals did something like that, I would be totally down. You would do like you'd have the pro finale into Tuesday, Wednesday Nats, and then Thursday, Friday Nats. Oh, that sounds awesome. It's like
Yeah.
peak autocross for more than a week, essentially, or about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound
I
too
wonder
bad.
what would happen if you let people enter twice.
I don't know. People enter twice for road racing stuff
Every
for
other form.
SCCA.
Every other form of motorsports lets you enter more than once.
Yeah, but part of what autocross is the trying to figure out the course kind of deal.
Right.
So that kind of gets broken. What if there was a third course and you can run on that course in like a tour instead of waiting around to do your days or instead of leaving?
Just like another competition that's not considered a nationals.
It's not nationals, it's just we're out here doing a tour for fun. A tour
Yeah,
for
that's what I'm
charity.
saying.
A tour for charity. Your entry fee goes toward some charitable thing. And then like make the entry fee whatever you think it needs to be to have like 200 people at the thing. Because I think if that was a thing, then too many people would sign up for it and it would like it would sell out too quick. So make the entry fee whatever it needs to be. So only 200 people sign up and then like make it for charity.
Anybody who has anything to do with running solo nationals, like operating it, hates us right now. All these ideas.
But we're just
They're like, yeah, it's just more work for us.
Yeah, guys, how hard could it be? A third course. Come on, we're already all there.
Yeah.
I don't even know where they would put it. It would have to be on like the other end of the runway or whatever.
Yeah, for real. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting conversation from
I get the
earlier
pros and
because the run days
cons.
came out. Do you know when you run?
No, they did come out though.
Yep.
Oh shoot, I gotta check it. What should I be googling for this?
Ken posted it recently. Quickly here.
When-
You're in D Street, DS.
No, I'm in
Drum roll.
CST, sir.
Oh yeah, CST. Drum roll for CST. You run on Tuesday, Wednesday.
Woo, 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 Woo! Best days. Tuesday, Wednesday,
Best
best
days.
days.
Yeah, they are the best days. I see the problem. At first, I was like, I don't get it. Why would you want to sit around for a day and do nothing between your competition runs? And there, everyone else's explanation of like the logistics of actually being there when you're a normal person
Yeah.
made sense.
Well, I do think that it is because you know you'll walk the course Monday for your competition on Tuesday,
Yep.
and you get basically as much time as you'd want to walk that course. And then depending on when you finish competition on Tuesday, now you got to go over and walk the course for the competition on Wednesday. And sometimes the sun's going down because you can't just like go out there and walk it right when you're done. You have to wait till like competition is over, right?
Yep.
So sometimes the sun is going down, you needed to get food, you needed to do your work assignment, you needed to do whatever. So you really, unless you're just out there being a little walking machine like Mark Daddio or Peter Schnorr, you don't. You might be a little pressed for time for walks. Uh, I think over the years I've gotten better at walking courses where I don't. I feel like I pretty much understand what I'm going to do after like 2 to 3 walks, and then maybe I'll do a fourth to like answer some questions. Uh, but I know a lot of people like to like throw in the dozens of walks
Yeah.
into it, and the current format of the competition doesn't allow them to do that.
True.
So I could see that argument. I'm curious what like the bigger overall argument of that would be from the community because I'm sure there will be some points that I haven't thought of. I haven't really been looking at the live chat here, so I don't know exactly. So Taylor Wargo says I don't hate it, but I'd love to see people get in slash out of their heads with an extra day in between. Yeah, that's I was thinking that as well. Is like if you were in the lead and you know like you're do you have is having more time better or worse to like let that fully sink in going into like day 2 of competition?
Yeah, I don't know. It would be different for everybody.
But like so I think like if you're in the lead and you're just like busy with the rest of the day, work assignment, walking the course, you show up, it's like you might not have a lot of time to like overthink it. But if you have a day in between and you tend to be an overthinker, like that might be a little bit of a disadvantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think especially for people who are newer to going to solo nationals, they don't maybe don't have the flow down of like a 3 run 2 day competition as you know, I don't know. We all do it 3 to 4 times a year, probably maximum, but some of us have done it for 15 years that way, and other people have
Yeah.
only done it 3. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know. I would be more on the other like, I kind of feel like the days are busy, but I don't mind them.
I
But
like
I always
busy.
have I've looked at solo nationals for the past 10 years as more of a social thing, just based on the circumstances of being there. Like,
Yeah.
I chased it so hard for the first 10 almost, and then the second 10 almost roughly have been like, I just love going, I love driving, I love being there with everybody. So, honestly, I could see it being better for someone like me who's a little more casual on site. Like, I'm not super regimented, right? Just
I will say doing the Pro Solo finale and then not running till Thursday, Friday does just feel like a whole lot of waiting, and that wait is a
yeah.
little bit excruciating. So I guess this way everyone has to do some waiting before before they can like finish out the competition.
True.
Uh, I feel like a certain amount of intensity, like to my body while competing, and the day break in between might kind of exhaust me. I don't know, or
Because it
maybe
would still be there buzzing. It's
yeah,
like
because I would
underneath
still
your
be
skin,
like,
just like, "Oh, I'm still in competition."
yeah, I would still feel like an intensity of like competition because it's like the job's not done. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not I or maybe I'm like, okay, I can relax until like this time today and then it's like it's time to get like go time again, like time to like turn up the intensity again or whatever. I don't know. I'd probably think about how it might affect me beforehand and like go in with a little bit of a game plan. That's how I think I would kind of approach it.
Yeah. Did you notice anything with that when you did 1 lap with Peter and you were splitting days?
No,
Like, there were days you
actually,
just didn't drive, right? I
nope.
didn't either. I haven't with
Yeah,
that.
you know what? That's a good point. That's actually a really good example of that because yeah, I didn't notice that at all. And then when I jump back in the car, it's like it almost felt like I drove the day before. It really didn't affect anything. You know what would happen is if Peter did like 2 days in a row, I would be like kind of itching. I'm like, like put me in,
Yeah.
coach. Yeah. So
My turn, my turn, my turn.
yeah, but it wouldn't be um like an exhaustive like state. It was kind of more just like
Yeah.
buzzing to do the thing.
There were even times in IMSA when there would be like a full day off for me when I was the finishing driver because maybe it was like the last practice session and qualifying, and it was all for Shelby to do.
Yeah.
But I never found a problem with that. I think it's because you don't leave the environment. If you
Yeah,
were, if
maybe.
by the way, if you just caught this conversation, you don't quite know what we're talking about. This isn't like an official proposal or anything. It's just something that comes up every year. Uh, because you don't leave. Like if you left and went and played golf and came back, that might be a little different than if you're just like there on site, kind of doing something related to the event. You're around the people who are competing and cheering them on like that.
Yeah.
That same environment that you stay in one lap. You stay at the racetrack. You don't go home or something and like break your rhythm.
Yeah. Well, the first year I did one lap with Peter on those off days, I actually like opened my laptop and like got some work done so I wouldn't have to fully claim a vacation day. I recouped uh
True.
yeah, I recouped like 3 vacation days during one lap just doing half days. So so I did kind of check out a little bit actually.
Yeah, I get that.
But I don't think that affected my competition or my driving or anything like that. So I don't know, maybe I'd be completely fine. I don't know. I would still go even if they changed it, but I can
Oh, for
only
sure. Yeah.
imagine the internet shit show. If that actually did happen, oh, there would be so many irrationally angry people on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they would show up and it'd be completely fine.
It'd be completely fine. Yeah, I mean, I said the thing about grid life, and then the runoffs last year did the opposite. They took one day out, and people still didn't like it.
Yeah,
So it's like I think you move people's toilet paper, they don't like it for a little while, and then they figure out
exactly.
how to get to it, and they wipe again.
Yep.
Do you want to answer some questions? We had 2 or 3 really good ones come in over the past couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Yep. Totally down. You want
I don't
to,
even know how long we've been going.
yeah,
How
you
long
want to
we've
ask
been
the
going?
first one?
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Emails. All right.
Okay. Let's do an actually driving related one before we do the meta one. This
Okay.
is from our friend Eladio. Oi, I actually have a question now. With some of the setup talk that has come from advice towards my videos, talk about cars that were driven, etc. What are things that you look for when describing an issue with a setup on a car, like being underdamped, overdamped, oversprung, needing a sway bar change, etc.? I've clearly missed a lot of these details, in particular in my own car, where I just seem to fly by the seat of my pants, continuously seeking better setup, but not knowing how because I can't pinpoint exactly what's wrong. Even though I have made it feel better than it has, but it always feels like something is missing if I just drive around it. Feels like something is always missing, but I just drive around it. That's
So
it.
So wait, a setup change is always going to be a trade-off. Like you're going to make the car something worse at something to make it better at something else, right?
Maybe I don't know if that's quite fair, but the setup change will always affect something else.
Let's say we're starting from a like you were really happy with this setup on one track and then you came to another track. That's where my brain's at. And then now you're optimizing it for like this particular track. Like you're making the car
Okay.
worse at something to make it better at something else. Like to something else would net an advantage at the new track that you're at, right?
Yeah, I don't agree that it makes it worse though. I just think
It
they're
makes it
correlated.
it makes the car behave differently, and that
Yes.
different behavior might impact the lap time at the new track that you're at.
Sure.
Okay. What do you
Yeah, keep going.
what well what is your what's your like what are
I
you
know exactly what you're saying, but the word you used was worse, and I disagree that it's every setup change you make to improve something one way will make another thing worse.
it's like a trade-off.
Yeah, but it's not a net positive negative thing that way in my experience.
Okay.
There are times where you make something better and it does make something else worse, but there are other times where it just makes it different. So you can feel the correlation, but it's not like a negative.
Yeah. Okay.
We're saying almost the exact same
I know
thing.
we're saying the same thing. That's why I'm
Yeah.
agreeing with
Okay.
you.
Cool. Okay.
You were expecting me to fight you, and now here we are.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I just don't agree with you said it was wrong or worse.
Yeah, it is
Go
worse.
ahead and finish your thought. Maybe it'll make sense. It's not worse all the time. No.
I finished my thought. My thought is finished. My thinking is finished too. I'm done thinking.
Okay. Um, what are things you look for when describing an issue?
Okay, let me ask you a question, Tom. How do you know when a car is under damped?
Uh, because it's bouncy. Ah, this is so hard to use words with. Um, okay, so the better way to say it, the body is not controlling itself. The weight of the car is not being controlled by the suspension enough. So it's moving up and down too often, too frequently, too uncontrolled, whatever it is. And you can feel that by either the car takes multiple sets, or when you do a bump or a curb, it takes multiple hops. Um,
Multiple sets is a really good way to put that. Like
yeah,
if the car doesn't have enough compression into it, like what happens is you actually go to set the weight into the spring and it actually overshoots it a little bit and then the spring has to come back up. And then the way you feel that in the driver's seat is you'll actually feel it take a set twice, which makes the car feel more nervous than it would otherwise.
right. Um, so I'm trying to boil this question down simply because it's really complex. What are things that you look for when describing an issue? When describing an issue is different than how do I know what setup changes to try? So maybe we do both of those because a lot of you kind of asked both. Describing an issue, honestly, I think that's just come with time. And I think it's safe to say that you should both be confident in what you feel when you're describing a setup or when you're describing something you would want different, because there's no wrong thought to that. But also try to hold you and yourself and people around you accountable for like using the right words, the way that DJ and I just did, because otherwise you can miscommunicate really quickly. Um, then when it comes to making setup changes for yourself, I usually root that in the car's consistently not doing something I want in X place, and then
Yeah.
you kind of engineer it out from there.
In X place at specific phase of corner or over this
Yeah, yeah,
curve
yeah,
or what like you have to root down like exactly where the bad behavior is.
yeah.
If it's as accurate as the car sucks in turn 6, that's not good enough.
No, for example, actually, I've never really seen this in club racing, but in IMSA, our set down sheet had a track map and it had the corners numbered on like a list with a little space and also a -5 to 5 rating. And -5 was tight and +5 was loose. And we would have to fill out basically like a worksheet after every session for the engineer to guide our conversation for the set down of the car. So you get out at Laguna Seca, there's 11 corners. You could say like turn three, he would want a rating. Is it neutral, loose, or tight in every corner, -5 to 5 on that scale, and then some notes. And then that would kind of guide our conversation from there so that we had to critically think about it and he could understand a rough idea of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, okay, so if it's a 5 loose, the loosest it could possibly be in turn 3, is it entry? Is it middle? Is it exit? Like he would want notes, and
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
obviously that also happens with some conversation. It wasn't like everyone goes quiet. You have to do your homework,
Yeah.
but it just helped guide it, and I actually quite liked that.
That I
Um,
like that as well because it makes you think critically for because sometimes you'll see people they jump out of the car and they go like, "Oh, this car this thing's too pushy," and it's like, well, how and where and like is it pushy everywhere or right? Like so
yeah,
that helps guide. Like if the car's really balanced leading onto the fastest straightaway, I don't know. That might be pretty good actually. Like maybe you're fighting the push in a corner that doesn't actually net that much lap time and like it's fine to fight the push there, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt said in the chat, follow up: if you haven't driven many cars, do you have to drive a really well set up car
Kinda.
to know what your car is missing? Yeah, kind of. I kind of the same. I think That's part of the reason I don't lean into setup changes very quickly. Like, certainly not on the first co-drive, maybe not even on the first day of driving at a racetrack, because I feel like anything that I can't fix in that day is up to me. And then if there's still stuff I can't fix after that, then we talk about it.
Yeah. I also think, yeah, so I've had this happen. We've had this conversation before on the podcast where you'll drive somebody's car and you're just becoming acquainted with the car. And then they're like, would you make any setup changes? It's like, I'm not going to know that in 6 laps unless something's like drastically wrong. But if
Yeah.
it's in like the
Yeah.
90th percentile, you're going to get it's good. You're going to get like a 2 thumbs up, like, yeah, fun car. But like, we're not going to be like, oh, yeah, you need to throw like 2 clicks of rebound in on the front to help with its behavior on corner exit, or like, you're not like, that would be too next level. Maybe there's somebody that can do that, but I certainly can't do that with just like, I'll be able to tell you if something's really wrong, but if it's like in the 90th percentile, it's not. We're not getting into the nitty gritty for like this specific track on this specific day on those specific tires. Exactly what's going to extract like maximum performance out of the car.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that helps, Eladio. It's a complex thing. Just rereading it again, he said he's continuously seeking a better setup, but not knowing how because I can't pinpoint exactly what's wrong, even though I know the car's been getting better. You're kind of describing the process, friend, I
Yeah,
think.
kind of. I would think like the way you should think about it is there a specific behavior of the car that I have influence on that would help me get out of the corner faster or create stability on entry or allow me to get the car pointed faster without negatively impacting somewhere else on track. That's if it always feels like you're waiting on the front end, then maybe we can loosen the car up. If it always feels like we're waiting on the front end on exit, then like maybe we can change something else. If it's on the initial tip in of throttle or brake or the initial turn of the steering wheel and there's something wrong there, then it's shocks most likely. If it's when the car's loaded, then it's probably suspension or alignment or springs or ride height or something in those lines is kind of where I would go. But then you also have to work within like what the car is going to give you. Like if you have an open diff, you can't make the front too soft because then you'll unload the inside rear tire, and then
Yeah.
just be spinning it up. So you kind of have to work with what the car is also going to give you, right?
That's what I mean. It's so complex.
It
But
is
let me
very
bring this
complex.
back full circle around to what you were talking about at the beginning, where you had a plan to essentially sweep the shocks, both compression and rebound bars. What else? Compression,
Uh,
rebound bars,
ride height.
something else. Right height. So you basically were going to go sweep the car from bottom to top and see what was, maybe not literally all the way bottom, all the way top. But you're at a point now where instead of going and learning the course and learning the car and asking what it might need, you were already going to just go answer all those questions right out of the gate if you
Yep.
could.
I was going to try to. What I was trying to do is because the car will have a certain behavior at one end of the bell curve of the adjustment range, and then that behavior in like a different flavor comes back at the other end of the bell curve of like whatever that adjustment range is.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that doesn't match really well with what we just said. Do you think, let's use Eladio as an example, has his own race car in competition on track at least a half dozen times a year, it seems, or more? Is that something that someone like that should be doing, in your opinion? Should you just go to a track day and not even plan to like drive? You're planning on setup work all day, sweeping shocks, answering all those questions so that you have that kind of.
I think it could be beneficial. I think like a test and tune day is really beneficial if you just, and what you should be focusing on, I think, is like the change in behavior. And then don't get to a point where you're like, well, I don't know, it drives good. Like,
Yeah, that's
cool.
good. Yeah.
Change the setup direction to the point where you think it will actually make it worse. Like if you get to a point where you think it's good, keep going. Like let's say you for instance, this is the instance I ran into. The car was driving really good. It felt a tiny bit loose on the initial tip in of throttle. And I expected, but it felt really good in like the slaloms. So I expected by taking rebound out of the front, it was going to make it looser. And I'm not entirely sure what the physics of what happened because I've definitely added rebound to the front of cars and it makes like the throttle tip in easier. I thought if when I took rebound out, it was going to exacerbate that like behavior on the initial tip in on throttle where like the rear would start to like pivot out. It did the opposite, and the rear was actually like more friendly. Like it was a larger window on the initial tip in of throttle at like a high speed right
Yeah.
hander that was on the test and tune course. So if I was just like, okay, cool, it's good. I like this balance of the car, but I don't want to throw any more front rebound in. And I didn't intentionally like move it in the opposite way to what I thought would be worse. I wouldn't have learned that like, okay, uh maybe some more experimentation on where this rebound like where it lives and wants to be set, depending on behaviors that I'm going for. Uh I wouldn't have learned that tidbit if I didn't just like keep the adjustment range going until I actually made it worse. Cause I know a lot of times people will make adjustments and they'll get to where it feels pretty good and then they'll stop. No, we should just
Yeah.
keep it going. Keep it going. Go until it's worse.
I agree with all this, but interestingly, I've almost never done this. I've only done it with Andy Hollis with our TCA car once per season. At the beginning of each season, we did a like private test day, get in the car. I'm not even going to tell you what I'm doing. We're going to go try you just do sweeps and then you get a pop quiz every time you come off
Yeah.
track. And that taught me a lot about working with an engineer, obviously, but it also taught me a lot about that process. But even in like the IMSA cars, we never did that. With the ASM cars, we never did that. Makes me wonder like what level. Obviously, we didn't have any obvious shortcomings in a lot of those
Yeah.
situations. Like the cars were plenty good, but yeah, there's like, why did we never do that? It takes a lot of time. It's kind of why I find making setup changes a bit daunting because I know the real way to do it is to just answer all the questions by testing both. Do
Yeah.
like ABA as often as you can or
I- And
ABCA as often as you can.
I had a little note app on my phone, and after each run, I would put in notes. Uh, oh, she's meowing now. I don't know if that showed up in the microphone. Probably not. Oh, I think she's jumping up. Come on, join the podcast. Okay, never mind. She ran away. Um, sorry, talking to my cat in the middle of recording.
She's in her little like show off era. She keeps popping up on different streams,
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
hanging
she's.
out while you're like on air.
Yeah, I think she's a little bit more stressed. Oh nope, she is jumping up. Okay. Nope. Okay, whatever. She stole enough airtime in the podcast. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Dang it.
ABA setup changes. Oh, you had a
Oh,
note phone.
I
Notes
was
in your
taking
phone.
notes. Yeah, I was taking notes about like what the time was, what I noticed, what the setup change was. So then when I'm looking at it later, I can kind of have an idea of okay, this was the journey. Like, is there any trends I notice? Is there any because I don't it's the human brain can only keep track of so much and just don't expect yourself to keep track of all those things, especially like over the course of like the next time I drive this car is going to be like 3 weeks from when I drove it, right?
Mhm.
So if we're at the DC Pro and I'm like, "Oh, it feels like this." Like, what I'm going to pull up my notes. I'm going to be like, "Oh, when I made this change, it actually adjusted. Okay, yes, this is refreshing my memory. Okay, I know what change to make in between runs or whatever, right?" So,
Right. But how many things can the lizard brain keep track of?
even less,
Even
even
less.
even less,
That's
because
the accurate answer.
yeah, because we're just focused on the driving, and
Yeah.
I think that is the hard part about doing like a test and tune day, is because at some point you're just like, I don't know, the car's pretty good. I'm gonna chase the lap time, right? Like, because that to me that's like the more
Yeah.
dopamine hit, like activity, and like being fully lizard brain is you're kind of just chasing the dopamine everywhere. So at some point you're like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the car, it's fine, whatever. I'm gonna go get a 20, like a 24 or whatever, like lap time you think you can go get. Like you're or autocross time. At some point, it always devolves into that, and it's hard for it to not devolve into that.
Yep, for sure. Good question, Eladio. Hopefully something in there was helpful.
Okay,
Do you want to pick the next one or you want me to?
yeah, I was just gonna pick the one right above that. Is it okay?
Sure.
All right.
We're going to be talking out of our ass a lot on this one again.
Okay.
Preface that again.
That's what the show is. All right. So,
Yeah.
all right. Scuderia Aperol Spritz.
Yeah, well done.
Okay. Hey, look at me Reading. Let's go. Okay. Hopefully not too off topic, but was at a NASA weekend last week and noticed it was pretty empty. 3 out of 4 cars for CMC. Uh, not a ton of Honda guys or Spec 3, not to speculate, but we might be heading into a recession. And at the very least, it doesn't seem like gas is getting cheaper soon. What was this sport like during the Great Recession, if anyone remembers? And they mean more at like SCCA, NASA, like grassroots motorsports, whatever. I was just playing Halo during the recession in 2008. So I don't know. I'm sure we'll have another recession at some point. It's not like you can never have a recession again. So I'm
Yeah, right.
sure I'm sure it will happen. Uh, what do you remember what it was like in 2008? Weren't you autocrossing then?
Yeah, I just started. I feel like I'm still too young to really answer this question, but I think it'll be an interesting conversation regardless. I started autocrossing in 2007, but I really started competing in like 2008, 2009. And obviously that was I was 18, 17 and 18 years old, so I wasn't like hyper aware of the economy or anything like that at
Yeah.
that time. But I knew what basically my firsthand experience is only post, recession, '08 recession motorsports. But I was a massive like racing fan dork all the way back to like even now finding older stuff from the 70s and 80s, but like growing up in the 90s and 2000s as a huge fan. The best I can tell is it was just different and bigger before. And I don't think that will ever really come back because it doesn't seem to have yet in a lot of ways. So, for example, people we know, we tell stories, all this stuff for SCCA or NASA, where SCCA, for example, at a regional like the ARC would get fields of 50 cars sometimes in like improved touring and at least 30 in every class. And by the time I went there in 2013, 14, excuse me, it was 3. And the biggest class was like 7 or 8 cars other than Spec Miata. So I feel like that kind of thing just never recovered. And I don't really know why. I'm not an economist or anything crazy
I
like
think I
that.
think people probably move away from the sport and the barrier of entry is so high that if you move away at some point, it's kind of harder to get back in.
Well, yeah, I agree. And what I think has popped up in if I just kind of do like a gut check analysis of this, the stuff that popped up since around that time, I think Spec Miata came up in '05, so it was just before, but um there seems to be a massive influx of spec racing that came like post recession era, post 2007, 8, 9 era. And also the second half of since then, like in the last 10, 20, 15 years, a huge influx of like homologated racing. And that's the stuff that's like booming is GT3, GT4, like homologation,
Yeah.
customer style racing, which really wasn't a big thing before this current era. Like I don't know of any other era in motorsports where it was like that. Um, so for some reason, it's just different. Like I said, I don't know the reasons, but I think that the reality is, as it gets more specialized and harder to access, excuse me,
Yeah.
spec racing and probably a very small quantity of spec racing will probably be like more and more and more the thing that people like. He cited Spec 3 and Camaro Mustang Challenge and stuff. There's just not enough infrastructure around those cars already versus Spec Miata or Spec Racer Ford or like Spec E30 seems to have decent numbers of cars built at this point, but
Yeah.
I don't know. As cars, those types of spec classes like age out on the cars being affordable and accessible and easy to get parts for and stuff, and things go more and more homologation style the way they have. I don't know what another recession would do, but that's the way I see it going consistently over the past 30 years. Does that
Yeah.
make any sense?
No, that makes
Like I said,
sense.
I'm talking out of my ass.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I think more than anything, like the consistent, like the way to not be wrong on this question is by saying that you'll see uh, changes in motorsports to try to stay relevant during a time of economic downturn. So whether that's like less autocross events, like nationally, because the numbers just simply don't like they're not hitting their numbers. Um, Maybe rules that try to curb spending in some manner so people don't feel like they're being outspent on stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but I was too much of a I was only 20 years old when the the last recession happened, and I was kind of just working and going to school at the same time, and I do remember
Yeah,
gas
same.
being like $4.50, and I was driving around a Lincoln Continental that got like 15 miles to the gallon, and at one point I was like, I'm literally just working to pay for my gas so I can drive to school. What the heck? I'm not. This is like a zero sum. I should just live at the school. Like
Yeah.
I was
Or
like,
the
this is
car.
stupid. Oh yeah, well yeah, live in the car at the school. That would have been better. Um,
Christian mentioned the NASA event at VIR in March was super busy, so it
it
might be
was,
region
yes.
dependent. I think that's totally true. Like, it just seems like the scale of it is lower, so you have to be more selective with where you choose to go, because
Also,
otherwise you're going to end up with 3 cars in each class and not a lot of competition.
let's be honest for a second. And any economic downturn always hurts the less affluent population more than people who can afford to go racing. Like
True.
you might lose some people to not go to the track, or they might go to less events just because of some kind of instability with the economy. But the people who are really hurting are the people who are like struggling before there's an economic downturn. So um, I'm sure racing will be fine. I would worry about the people that are struggling to eat at the moment. That's what I would be
Yeah, true. Very
mostly
good
worried
point.
about.
It also makes me think of what Hayward was talking about when he was our guest. Refocusing a little bit on like the attainability side of motorsports by making it more of a a spectacle. Remember he was talking about like having the autocross on the highway and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Just like finding new places and reinventing ways to make it relevant or fun or affordable. I hope more and more people do that, because ultimately this whole conversation comes down to the organizations and the people influencing the organizations, like manufacturers and tire brands and stuff like that.
I think. I mean, obviously, some kind of economic pressure to have people not do the thing that is fun for them. Um, like if there was some pretty drastic economic downturn, then you would lose population, and you will never gain 100% of that population back. So it would
Yep.
be detrimental to the sport in some capacity. So yeah, what Hayward's saying, where it gets it in front of more people, that is probably the move in some kind of, I mean, that's the move now, but definitely the move in any kind of downturn, because what you need more than anything is for people to understand that they can do this, and that it's possible. And if they have the means to do it, then they absolutely can. I rode in the right seat this weekend with somebody who was, it was their first autocross event, Tom. And I asked what their experience was with motorsports, like any video games, any of that. And they said nope to everything. And I said, so what like brings you here? And he heard about it at a car show, and he showed up. And I was like, is this not a car
Nice.
show, but you get to have some fun with your car? And he went, absolutely. So like we should be doing autocross events at car shows. Like just figure out how that would work, right?
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, and I love like Hayward's idea of a high school parking lot, like finding places where it puts it to be relevant for more people, because that's going to be the only way. Like people who can afford to race, even grid life at this point, at most levels competitively, they're not probably going to look at that as like they're going to be fine. They're still going to go to the track. But the people who are scraping it a little further, an autocross or motorsports event in a parking lot in your town, still pretty attainable,
Yeah.
roughly, sort of. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting question. We're gonna
It
find
is
out.
interesting.
Only time
Honestly,
will tell.
yeah. Look, if you have some more vivid adult memories of the last
Yeah, yeah,
recession and its effect on motorsports, please write in. Like, I would love to hear it.
yeah.
And maybe that insight can help us navigate economically turmoil time uh, to you know to stay relevant in the motorsport space, or more importantly, to help motorsports stay relevant in a
Yeah.
time of strife.
I forgot there was a little discussion in the thread. So Andy said, I'll add a quick comment to this. I grew up racing karts, and it was gigantic, huge fields and numerous national series televised by Speed Channel, Red Bull Driver Search, Formula BMW, Skip Barbers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. By 2008 or 9, though, it was basically all dead. Everything went to spec classes. I didn't even know he read that. There were small fields, no more feeder series, and it seemed like the local scenes sort of dried up. Yeah, that's kind of the flavor I got too. Costs have exploded. Yeah, yeah. We don't have to discuss that. We all know.
Somebody's like, I'm virtually certain that DJ and Tomo do not want to devolve this discussion into a larger economic or socio-political environments. Yes, you are right.
You're correct. But he
Yes,
did also say, hot take, autocross is now the only affordable racing normal people can do. Even karting has gotten too expensive.
I
I would argue that autocross is not racing, dork. I'm kidding.
dork. uh, I will say there's quite a few people, and maybe this is, I think I remember somebody saying, I forget where I heard this, but if you stop smelling barbecues in your neighborhood, like if you walk outside in the summer and you're just like, I haven't smelled a barbecue in a while, that's a pretty good indication that like we're already in a recession. And I thought, you know what, that's actually pretty clever because people aren't going to go extra to like have a bunch of people over and have a barbecue. But maybe the better indication is when road racers go autocrossing is the
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
is the best indication of a recession. And I will say there are quite a few road racers in our Discord alone that are putting a more serious effort into autocross this year.
Yeah.
So
I think the real recession indicator is recession pop,
what is
the
that?
music. You know what I'm talking about?
No, what is that?
Every time like Kesha and Lady Gaga and Katy Perry and like David Guetta, like like EDM, like ooh, ooh, everyone's just like a party music.
Yeah.
Usher,
Yep. Okay.
that's recession pop.
Dang.
I don't know if
Okay.
Usher counts.
All right. I didn't know this
Anyway,
was a genre. Tom's up on the
it's a
up.
good genre. It's a really good genre, actually.
Eladio, as I prep for autocross this weekend. Dot dot dot.
Yeah.
But also,
Should we do one? Oh, go ahead.
autocross is pretty fun, guys. Like it's a pretty good
It's
time.
so fun.
So okay,
I would
what
kind
were
of
you gonna say?
argue. Oh no, this is another rabbit hole, maybe. But I would argue that car show and autocross people have equal amounts, if not more, in common than road racer and autocross people.
I might agree with that. Yeah.
They're such different activities to
I'll agree
most
with
people.
that. But car showing is not helping when you go to a racetrack at some point, but autocross definitely does. So
Agreed.
to
Very
all
true.
the car show people, all zero of you listening to this podcast, there's
We probably have some reformed ones.
we probably have some people who do like motorsports and car shows, like an Erica Teal style of motorsports
Yeah.
attendee. But there's no way there's just a car show person listening to us like week after week. There's no way.
Weekly. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if they stumbled across our show and they're like, oh, someday when I'm racing at the racetrack, this show will be relevant to my interests. But right
Yeah.
now, they actually hate cars. What's wrong with these people?
I'll convert them.
Though I will
How long have we
say
been going? Do you want to do one more or no?
we can do one more, but I will say there was a particular Kia. I don't even know what kind of Kia it was. I think it was just like it said GT on it. There was a Kia that had like the
Oh, a Stinger.
perfect. I don't think it was a Stinger. It was like smaller. Maybe somebody. I don't know if anybody from Finger Lakes was here, but I was talking about this Kia. It was a Forte. I was nerding out over a Forte. Oh no.
All right, guys. Well, this is going to be the Lizard Brains podcast with Tom O'Gorman and somebody else next time, starting.
Yo, Carlton McCar guy here, and I'm just gonna have to say, a Kia Forte, it kind of slaps. It makes the whoosh whoosh boosty boy noises, and the fitment with the wheels. I know which one you're talking about at the Autocross DJ at Finger Lakes this weekend. I missed the guy's name, but that car was dope.
All right. Well, thanks for your car guy take, Carlton.
That's so funny. What about the Kia Forte?
It just looked really good. It's like
Oh,
its
okay.
wheel fitment was perfect, and its like ride height was good. I don't know. It probably didn't drive all that great. I did ride right seat in it with the guy to give him some pointers, but I wasn't paying attention how I was driving. But it was really fast, like in a straight line at least. It made whoosh boosty noises. and it looked really good. I think it was on Apex wheels. It just looked. Hey, your camera fixed itself. You see that?
No. Oh, I'm on camera again. Okay.
Tom's camera has been doing something wild the whole show, and it just like randomly fixed itself, and now a lizard is slapping him. So, anyways, I was kind of biting my lip over a Kia Forte this weekend. So,
That's quite funny.
there might be some car show guy living somewhere inside my body that I've been suppressing this whole time, Tom. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It is in your blood. Your dad is a Corvette guy now.
Yeah, it's true.
I-
I'm a
I
little
DJ
ashamed.
senior.
I'm a little ashamed, to be honest. I think I turned to
All right.
Derek and we were like admiring the car together, and he's like, "Are you being a car guy?" And I felt my cheeks go red and flush, and I like waddled away like out of embarrassment. I just had to get out of there.
Fight or flight. The last question is going to put me on blast, so this will get the heat off of you.
Okay, thanks.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. So this is from Shamit watching Tomo's videos from Hallett, where he's just wearing a t-shirt and shorts with visor up. Made me wonder, what is your Royal You threshold for choosing how much safety gear you're wearing? Does it depend on the car, location, event type, etc.? Obviously, this is personal preference question, but I'm curious to hear both of your thoughts / risk assessments. Damn.
This
Caught in the line of fire.
Yeah, this changed for me when I got married, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I know myself, if I'm inside a car burning to death and my race suit is sitting in the back of the Mazda 3 next to the trailer or whatever, I'm going to be really upset at myself that this is the way I go out and Christine has to go on without me.
Fair.
So
Yeah, that's a decent way to think of it.
Now maybe I've made some exceptions because I didn't think about it long enough, but I try to go out in my fire suit just because I don't want my last thoughts to be, I am so stupid as my skin's melting. So
the correct answer, which there is a correct answer to this question, is wear all of the gear that you own. As high level as that is, wear it all every time. I'm not a good role model here. I know you don't get to pick if you're a role model, and I should be a good role model in all this, but I generally am I kind of get lazy here, and it's just simply on assessment of what kind of day it is, what kind of car it is. And I don't think about it that much, but if it's like a street car, unmodified, the videos he's mentioning were, completely stock cars. I don't know, just didn't think about it. It was just shorts and t-shirt, shorts and pants, whatever they require from the track. Feels completely responsible and fine, and I don't think about it twice.
yeah,
That's not correct. Don't do what I do.
I
But
get that.
if it's
I've
a
been there
modified car, I
too.
mean, there's certainly been times where I don't have to wear all of my gear, and it's a car that makes me think about wearing all my gear, for sure. Time attack cars that have been modified, engine swapped, stripped interiors, like things where something has been changed in a way that fire or a mechanical failure is more likely, 100%, then I'm not like flippantly not doing it. It's just that sometimes it doesn't even cross my mind that it's an important thing.
If anything,
That's not a good answer, though.
yeah, look, if anything about the fuel system is not OEM, it's like I think about like, okay, yeah, the suit's definitely going on more than the normal. Man, that would be dumb if I died and my suit's in the car instead of on me.
Yeah. What does it say? Eladio said at VIR, a grid worker pulled it for me when he asked if
They're
I
talking about the
wanted.
fire bottle.
Oh, the fire pull. Honestly, I'm worse at that than I am the gear. I completely forget to pull the fire pin. I owned race cars for like 5 or 6 years before I even remembered that was kind of a thing you're supposed to do. And I have no idea if someone else was pulling it for me. I literally no clue.
A good thing you never cut. Tom and Gorman didn't
My
plan on.
Fit, my
Look,
Civic, none of. I literally never thought once about
Tom,
whether
it's
there was a fire
fine.
pin in.
You weren't planning on catching on fire anyways. Like,
Right? Yeah.
look, guys, look, here's the real answer. If you don't plan on catching on fire or crashing or having any mechanical like failures, you don't need to do anything. You don't even need a helmet. Unless you plan on crashing.
I just admitted to running that car without brake pads too. So it's not like it was just about the fire safety.
Look, unless you plan on crashing, you really don't need any of that stuff.
Correct. I would race I would race a lot of modern cars without extra safety equipment.
Yeah, I think I would.
I think I would race anything slower than like a Camaro. I'm trying to think. I wouldn't want to go. I wouldn't race like any car, modern car. I don't know. Probably should. Wear
Yeah.
your stuff. Wear the highest level of stuff you have every time. Just be in the habit of it. Don't listen to me. Well, listen to me about that part. Do as I say, not as I do. How about that?
Yes. That is the Tom answer. Yeah, I just the suit never really impacts my my comfort all that much. You know what's the most annoying part about the suit? All right, guys, we need to fix this, okay? Is
Tell us.
I can't take the suit off without taking my shoes off. What are we doing? Can we not put
You
a
need some boot
zipper?
cut.
Can we not put a zipper or something on the bottom of the suit? Is that not a thing?
They have boot cut.
They do? Is that a thing?
They go over your, but you're still wriggling your shoes through an entire pant leg.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that. I just don't like taking the shoes off. It's the problem is when I was buying my shoes. Okay, I guess I'm on my second set of shoes. So now I don't have an excuse. But when I was first buying shoes, Kenton Cook told me not to. He told me not to get the one with the wire where you just turn the little like the clicky thing that like tightens up the boots. He said, "Don't get that. It never fits well. Like get the one with the laces." So I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm getting the one with the laces." Right? So it's like a whole thing to get the shoes on and off. And I would rather just leave the race suit half on me than take my shoes off. But if I could get the shoes on and off quickly and just get into like street shoes, I obviously would. But if I have to spend 5 minutes to put because I know I'm already going to be scrambling into the car because I procrastinate everything. So, but if I have to add shoes to that, I'm missing the session.
Yeah. Jackie said if your boot gets through the pant leg, so could fire.
Okay, well
That's
then if
probably why.
you know what, if the fire gets through the pant leg, then it deserves to get in. Okay.
Yeah. we're getting F after F after F on this question.
This is the last episode of the podcast, everyone. Somebody
Should I
asked.
wear my suit for autocross or would I just look like a big old goober?
I've seen people
You would
out.
absolutely
I've,
look like a goober.
You would look like a goober, but I have seen people at autocrosses with the fire suit. I've never seen a car catch on fire at an autocross. I've seen it at the drag strip. I've seen cars catch on
I've
fire
been in a car that caught fire at an autocross.
at an autocross.
Yeah. They left a rag in the engine bay after a brake bleed.
Okay, so where you? Damn it! Now, Tom, I gotta. You know the thing is at autocross, I'm never gonna be. I will probably never be. I don't want to say that because apparently a car flipped at the Atlanta Pro Solo this last weekend. Oh, you
Dude,
didn't
it
hear
was
that?
a weird weekend for motorsports. Did you hear about the chainsaw being pulled on people at Pocono?
What
or
about
smashing windows?
What
or
about the
something?
high speed pursuit where the person came into an autocross
A car
site?
chase?
Yeah, it was a car chase at an autocross. It was a
What?
weird weekend. It was a very weird weekend.
I think Mercury is in retrograde,
Yeah, something.
like Ford Lincoln Mercury.
So, I think my rationale for the suit is that I'm going fast enough on a racetrack where if something mechanically fails, it's going to take quite a while for the car to stop. And then also when it stops, it might be stuffed so far into a tire wall that it takes me a kind of a while to get out of the car. That's like my rationale for a suit at a racetrack. I wouldn't wear a suit at autocross unless I'm driving like something that's readily able to explode at any moment. So like maybe some like crazy mod car where like I'm sitting like next to the engine or something, right?
Yeah.
So like even like a cart, maybe I should wear a suit if I'm like driving a cart, right?
I think carters have to, but
Oh, do
like
they?
A mod, B mod, C mod, F mod,
It
where your
depends
arms are
it depends.
exposed.
Yeah, it depends on where the engine is.
None.
Like if the engine's just out in the open and it can be like a ball of fire that like comes over me, then like maybe I'd wear a suit because burns suck and they take a long time to heal and they never heal properly. And like if here's my a really good example is Justin Peachy. I think he lost an engine and he was driving down the straightaway and fire just came flying out of his trans tunnel on his right arm, but he was wearing a suit. No injury. It was just an inconvenient day with an engine failure. If Justin wasn't wearing a suit, he would have burns on his arm. He would have had to have medical care. It would have been medical bills. Like, and that, you know how expensive all that is. Like, who cares about the cost of the engine if like you have to go to the hospital for burns and skin grafts and whatever. Oh my God. I cough, I mute it, and then Tom just coughs into the mic. It's so annoying. but but Justin walked away completely unscathed because he was wearing his fire suit. So
Right.
yeah. Maybe the medical bills is the most pertinent motivation to just put the stupid suit on.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't get health insurance until my parents asked me. I was already racing a lot, and they were like, "Look, maybe the year after, right? I was 26, I guess, because you get booted off at 25, and I didn't get my own. They were like, if something happens to you, we can't let you go, but we can't just like keep you alive either. So can you please look at getting health insurance?"
Yeah.
Like, yes, okay. And then 30 minutes later, had health insurance, no problem.
Right, because your parents would liquidate everything they owned if there was a chance that you would make it. Right? And then there's a chance that you don't even do that. So like on your way out, like yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reality is that stuff have only hit me a couple times, really, probably 3 or 4 times, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, this is dangerous." I had the head gasket blow on the Professional Awesome Evo, and I thought it blew up and it was on fire. And I didn't panic myself until I realized my radio wire was fully tangled in the belts. And if I had needed to get out, I would have been tangled in the belts, and I don't know if I would have been able to get away from the car. That scared me a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Dang.
what was the other one? I don't remember what the other one was. I had another one. Have you ever had a scary, like oh my God, that was like real,
No, I've never had a fire scare.
or I'm glad I'm okay?
Well, the
That's good.
VIR when I got way too hot in the car and kept pushing until I like barely got out of the car and then I couldn't catch my breath and then I had to be taken to the medical hut at VIR during a champ car race. That was scary. And really I thought of Christine. I was like, "Oh, this is like what am I doing? Like I'm out here chasing like the race is already over. Like the first 2 people had to bail out of the car early because they got too hot because that car was like demented. But I'm over here trying to like do a full stint for like what reason? Like I should have gotten out of this. And I'm like thinking that while I'm like not able to catch my breath. And I was like sometimes this lizard brain is just an asshole. Like what are we doing? What are we doing here? So yeah, that was probably like the biggest scare or like wake up calls. Like man, sometimes we gotta separate ourselves from like the competition a little bit to just kind of make a more rational decision. And I think we're as humans we're wired to not think about those things because like I think it's been like that mentality has been beneficial for hundreds of thousands of years for Homo sapiens, like better for the tribe. But we
Yep.
don't need we don't need like that animalistic behavior anymore. Like I don't have to be out there like trying to complete a stint in a champ car race because my monkey brain is telling me like you're doing a great job. Keep it going. It
Yep.
doesn't matter.
We still have the fight or flight with like lizards and not lizards, spiders and snakes, but not of
Not of race cars.
things fully in our control with race cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, that's the answer. What are you doing this weekend?
this weekend, Tom,
No.
here's my one lap of America update.
Oh yeah, tell us.
Yeah, Damian is still thrashing on the 800 horsepower RX-7, but it might not have ABS because
Hey, if that's the thing he's worried about, he's doing okay.
I'm worried about it. It's an 800 horsepower car without ABS. What am I, a Formula One driver over here? Am I gonna
Yeah,
have to
like
worry
that.
about
I mean,
super clipping?
I'm trying to think where ABS actually falls on the list now that you say this, because he's going to make it, right? He's like, yeah, I'm on track. It just might not have ABS. That means you're probably going to be there.
Yeah, probably. Look, it'll be fine. I'll manage, but I would really like
You should ask him
ABS.
how much horsepower he has to give up to give you ABS in the build process right now. Can you like
It's
leave a
not like-
turbo out or
It's
something?
not like he's
and make
pumping the
ABS work
horsepower into the
instead?
car, and that's a time-consuming process.
Well, he might have to do either a turbo or an ABS, or he might have to do either a I don't know, engine swap or ABS, like
I don't have the full
give or
update.
take here?
Look, I don't have
Okay.
the full car update, but from what I understand, like the difficulty right now is getting all these different systems to communicate to each other properly. And they might drop ABS away from the build to just simplify all the communication. So
Gotcha.
things are
That makes
moving
sense.
from like that will definitely be on the car to that would be a nice to have thing on the car, not like a
Yeah.
necessity of its operation.
Mm.
So we'll see as people are just posting fiery wrecks in the chat here in
Yeah.
the live chat. I'm not clicking on any of those. That will impact my lap time. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to watch any of those either. This weekend I am commentating the SCCA Super Tour from Hallett. Well, I'm from home, and the racing is at Hallett. And that's Saturday and Sunday from it's 8 to 5 Central, so 9 Eastern. Saturday and Sunday we start on YouTube. And if you're not racing yourself, come hang out with us. on
Hallett
YouTube.
should be a relatively easy track to get some good camera coverage, right?
Yeah, it usually, I mean, they have so many cameras the way they do it. They have like 14 to 16 cameras at any given track. So
Okay.
we typically have full track coverage. Like there's not a point where the cars are out of camera.
Okay.
They just don't move. They don't pan or anything.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Well, that should be fun.
But yeah, Hallett should be good.
Yeah. Well, I should be testing the not ABS, maybe ABS one lap car this upcoming weekend
Oh, this weekend. I
at
didn't
Black
realize
Hawk
that.
Farms. Yeah. So this
Cool.
this should be the test. I am bringing a ND Miata recently acquired also to the racetrack in case things with the RX-7 don't go well. Then I will do laps in an ND Miata.
What's the event?
Oh, they made me sign up for a membership. I'm trying to remember what it was. They actually called me and they said, "Oh, in order to sign up for this event, you have to have a membership." And I was like,
Oh, I know.
okay.
Something Sports
Something
Car Club.
something council Midwestern.
Midwest Council.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Midwest
that makes
Council.
sense.
So they asked me if I had a membership, and I was like, I have a membership with NASA and SCCA. Like, what do we? Because I just thought I signed up for like just a track day. I didn't realize I was showing up to a thing. I actually don't know what I signed up for.
I think it is still just a track day, but that group, they do road racing and track days and stuff like that. A lot of the ASM people have done a ton of those.
Okay. Well, they said that the nearest one near me was someplace I've never heard of. So, because they were like, "Well, what group do you want to sign up with?" And I was like, "I don't know, just whatever one's easiest for you." I don't know anything. Like I felt so bad because I didn't know anything about their thing. So, but I didn't
You
want
didn't try to explain it or help you
No,
at all.
I was just like, "Well, how much is the entry fee?" And it was like an extra
Nice.
$50, and I was like, "Sure, whatever. Like, go ahead." So it's just
Gotcha.
it's just an extra $50 that that the track day costs essentially.
I expect a full report next week about the new surface. And holy shit, One Lap starts next week.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's what is it? 8 days, 7 days, 9 days away.
9 days away.
Wow,
Crazy.
that is
Well,
crazy.
we'll have an update for you guys next week on whether we're doing weekly or a week of episodes, daily episodes. Basically, probably whether or not DJ's on the trip after this weekend. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. No, because I would really like to reclaim it. If I don't end up doing it, I would really like to reclaim the vacation days. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll jump in the media like trolley or whatever and hang out with those guys for the week or whatever. But I'm like, actually, I think I'd rather have like my 6 vacation days back instead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, all right. I think that'll do the show. You got anything left, Tom?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's see if you can hear the
Well,
music this
just the
time
thing
around.
coming up.
What's that?
Just this thing coming up after you hit that button.
Oh, okay.
That's the last thing I have. I can hear it. Hey, you out there who listened to all this, wear every piece of safety gear you have. Don't listen to me. I love your hair though, and I hope you win.